welcome, Lynn. It's always good to see you.
Well, I just want to say welcome and thank you, and I want to make sure that our viewing and listening audience recognizes one of the most joyous days in your life. Josie has a birthday. Now, I'm at the unfortunate disadvantage not to know what day that was because I want to try to keep it a secret. If you can you focus this in on here and see if we can get this birthday gift that we have here for Josie here?
Wow.
We try our best when we do things. Some folks say it's a have at it there. It should be coming up shortly here. There we go. Put the card up there, Linwood, please.
Yes, sir.
There we go. Now, see, those are the number of candles that we can fit on the card. Okay. Well, we just want to say thank you and happy birthday for you. And now we can move on to the second segment of the show, which
Well,
is our guest.
First, let me just say thank you for that. I hope he eats a piece with me of this pie. Other than that, I don't know about sharing. But because you told me it's very, very special, you put a little of this and a little bit of that in it, and especially I know you put a little love in it.
Well, it's
So-
you can look at the lumps on it and see that's all the love that we have for
Yes.
you. I mean, they definitely did cook down, but everybody knows when it's a homemade pie around, it doesn't last long. So this is the guest as well as yourself, Josie, if you so desire to have others have a piece of that. I will definitely christen it for you to make sure that you recognize that it's nothing like having a good baked pie as opposed to a cake. You know, I don't like cake, so.
Oh, that's okay. I'm so thankful. And I had a wonderful birthday. Of course, I want you to excuse me, it got a little cold. But we'll get through the program. We have some other special people with us this morning. And we're going to just get right to Mr. Linwood Jackson. I want to say it's always nice to have good friends and someone that backs you up. And I got to say this for Lynn and Linwood. It's been a kind of rough week for me because I'm kind of under the weather with the cold. But when you can call somebody up and ask them, look, can you get somebody real quick, or can you help me out? And these two guys have always been there for me, and I just personally and publicly want to thank them so much for all their kindness and their support and just being there for me. And there's not one time that I haven't called either one of these guys up and asked them to do something for me, and they have always been there for me. So I just want to say thank you so much, Linwood. Thank you, Lynn. And Lynn and I have been on the show now for, I guess, about 3 years or
Oh,
so.
no. We've been together on this show, going on 4, close to 5,
Yeah.
and we've been in with this struggle, which I still consider a struggle. We're at the fledgling stages of this TV station, and we've been doing this for a little more than 7 years now. So
Yeah, but it's been a joy,
Mm-hmm.
and as we continue to go forth, we still ask the community to support us, and your encouragement is always welcome, because it is the Lapa Hour. It's Channel 28. If it wasn't for 28, I don't know how we could even get our message out. Today we have a message, someone here to talk about a special issue that needs to be addressed, and the community needs to hear about. We have someone here to sing, to let us know we have people locally that have talents. So the 28 is so special. So we just thank you for tuning in. And I always hear people say to me, well, Josie, where you been? Well, I haven't been anywhere. I've been working, I've been home, I've been in the community doing some other things, behind the scenes. But I'm still around, I'm not going anywhere. And at the end, what I like to do is just give my phone number in case anyone would like to come on the program with us, or just call me basically for some information or some help that is needed. So with that, I'm going to go to Linwood, and I'm going to have him introduce our special guest. And again, thank you so much for being here with me today. You're such a special person to me.
Well, thank you, Josie. It's always a pleasure being on with you and Lynn Church. I always have a great time speaking with you. And so anytime you call me, if I can get here, I'm here, especially on a beautiful occasion such as today. It's a great sunny day, beautiful day out there today. And not only that, as Lynn Church so eloquently said, it is your birthday. And being here with you to help celebrate and really to help you eat that pie, because I am ready to dig in there. We got permission, so we're going on in. It's a great looking pie now. And you know, you spoke about how long you guys been performing on air. And I am honored to say that I think I went through that journey with you on my Richardson show. Shout outs to From the Heart. And we come a long way since then, and it's just an honor to be here with you as always. And church, I don't know how far back we gone. I remember when we were cooking chicken. We were cooking chicken. Me and church going back, we learned how to cook chicken together. Y'all know we like chicken. Matter of fact, we love chicken. But I didn't know church was a baker too. So I am really, really looking forward to having a nice piece of that pie. And it is a nice rendition. There's a lot of lumps in there representing the ups and the downs. You see what I mean? Which is all a part of life. And as you said, being in the struggle and having a platform to broadcast from to help the people realize the struggles that we're in, and how, and more importantly, how you can help us get through these hurdles in life is just a great privilege to be able to do that. And I don't know where that gift came from, but I'm just glad I'm on the journey with you guys. And you're absolutely right. You have two guests on with us today. One of them is a phenomenal singer. I don't know if she writes songs, but she'll tell us in a minute. She's doing some great work out in the community as well. Her name is Evangelist Nicole Wright. And she has a new CD out, and or a song, and she's working on the CD of the song. So we want to get her in here and share a little bit of her music with you, because life's not always, it's more than just ups and downs, you know, the issues and the solutions. We got some fun stuff too, and that's where song and dance come in. And this lovely evangelist came on to share with us her gift of music. And then you have, we're lucky to have Miss Zoe Patchell with us. She is the co-chair of the Cannabis Bureau. And Lenny Church and I know we've been a long way with her too in the struggle for legalizing marijuana, which is criminalizing a lot of our youth out there for like petty crimes, you know, and she's in the struggle to help fix that. So I'm looking forward to speaking with her as well. So I guess you might want to go, you want to go to your guest now, or?
We'll go to you and just come in your own way. Tell us a little bit about you, your music, and what you're doing right now.
All right. Well, I'm evangelist Nicole Wright. I am in the course of having my own album, and it will be coming out in Lord's will 2016. I do have my hit single, Standing on the Promises, that has just been released. And that came about, God has been truly ministering songs to me for about a year and a half now, literally waking me up out of my sleep, in my dreams. So yes, he has given me my own songs. So I am a songwriter. I do attend Christ Unity Center, and I'm from Elkton, Maryland, where Pastor James A. Fields is my pastor. I've been in this ministry for 21 years, and I thank God for this anointed man that I'm sitting under. But with my gospel music, I'm under the management of Innovative Recordings. I deal with a producer by the name of Charles Garris, and he has started out, I believe, at the age of 14 with Warner Brothers. So he is well known. He's out of DC. I also have in dealings with another producer and my co-management. His name is Marvin Bryson. He's a producer of Law and Order and Criminal Intent. So God is truly moving. Things that I have been dreaming about taking place, that, you know, I've always had someone tell me about prophets, like my pastor prophesied about a CD, you know, being birthed out, but it's on God's time. It was not on my time. But here recently, within the past like year and a half, he truly has been blessing. He has been moving. I even have songs that haven't even been tapped into yet. But Standing on a Promise is the hymnal song. It's just so happened he woke me up out of my sleep 3 a.m. in the morning, and he gave me a version of Standing on a Promise. And I'm like, God, wow, God, that's an amazing thing, because a lot of people, no matter what you go through in life, you get that understanding that God's promises, he's a God that he shall not lie. So it's always that we must like believe and trust, no matter what it is we may be going through, he will bring us through all obstacles. So I believe that this song is ministering, and I thank God for the feedback that I have been receiving, because a lot of people have said that they have been using this song as an inspiration even in the mornings. No matter what they're going through, it's an uplifting. So I thank God for that.
Well, you know, now since you said Elkton, Maryland, right? So you are from Elkton, Maryland,
Yes.
correct? So you've, I guess, sung in some of the churches down there.
Yes.
And I've probably been there. Probably have been there. You know, we were trying to figure out,
Where we
you know,
knew
where
them
you
from.
knew me from and where I knew you from. So I have some good friends in Elkton, Maryland, the Purdy's. And so that's probably where, you know, we've met before.
Right. I started
it-
at the age of 12, so
Oh,
singing with
okay.
my family group. I don't know if you know Earl Piner.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, that's my uncle.
Oh, okay.
And I know Linwood knows Angelo Piner, my uncle.
Producer,
Yes.
Yeah.
movie producer.
Yes. So I actually started out with them, and then at the age of 21 is when I came into the ministry of Christ Unity Center, and it's like God just started moving me in different areas. So became a solo artist. I'm happily married. My husband
Great.
Leon Wright. We have 5 children, 2 daughter-in-laws, waiting on grandchildren.
Okay. Eventually,
But,
huh?
eventually.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a blessing. So
But
yes.
I really like what you said about, you know, how God wakes you up in your sleep, you know, and people need to realize, you know, he can touch you anywhere.
Yes.
You know, in your sleep, wake you up in your sleep. You could be walking, you know, anything, and the presence of God can come over you, you know, and just like in your sleep, you know, and the presence come and, you know, gave you the song, and it's just so amazing, you know.
Yes.
To be touched like that. I had a conversation with someone yesterday, and we kind of were talking about the spirit. And he said to me, you know, I've been praying all my life for God to show me or let me feel how it is to be in the spirit. And I was explaining to him I did the same thing, but it's not until it happens. And when it does happen, you can't even tell a person, because that's something that you have to experience
For yourself. Yes.
And it's amazing
Yes.
how God moves. So anyway, Lenny.
Well, what I'd like to ask you is, you said that you have a single, and I'd like you to basically let the viewing audience know exactly, and I know you said at one time that you're looking at 2016 to actually have your debut CD
Yes.
on the market. Do you have a title for it yet?
It's the title actually is Standing on a Promise.
There we go.
Yes.
See, so remember that, standing on the promise, and everybody, you make them, you like them, and you have them. She has hers, and it's come true. So
Yes.
there's always hope and help for everybody out there. Hopefully, what you'll have is a bustling career, and I will make sure I look forward to hitting one of the record stores and
Appreciate
see if
that.
I can come up with one of your CDs to
Yeah.
boost your
Actually,
career.
how
though.
can we buy your CD?
Yeah.
Well, right now you can download it at innovativerecordings.com. If you go underneath for artists, you'll see my picture, and that's my website, and you're able to download that song right there.
And you're
Listen to it and
Are you
download
on the social media pages at all?
I'm on Facebook. I just joined in Periscope. I didn't know anything about it. So I'm actually on Facebook. I do have a Twitter. You can look me up there, and on Instagram. I'm still learning myself about the social media. My
Yeah.
kids teach me a lot in that area.
I know that's
I think we all are still learning. But then, why don't we do this? Why don't we take a quick break, and we'll have Evangelist Wright to come back and give us some music.
Thank
How
you.
about that?
Thank you.
We'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
This is evangelist Nicole Wright, and this is my new hit single, Standing on the Promises. Come on, when you think about all that you may be going through in life, just know that God is not a God that he shall lie. So all you have to do is trust and believe that you're standing on the promises of God. You know I'm standing on the promises of God. Standing on the promises of God. You know I'm standing on the promises of God. You can't stop me. You can't block me. You can't break me. You can't shake me. You can't stop me. You can't block me. You can't break me. You can't shake me. 'Cause I'm standing on the promises of Christ, my King. Through eternal wages, let his praises ring. Glory in the highest, I will shout and sing. Standing on the promises of God. Yes, I'm standing on the promises I cannot fall. Listening to my every moment spirit call. Resting in my Savior as my all and all. Standing on the promises of God. No, you can't stop me. You can't block me. You can't break me. You can't shake me. You can't stop me. You can't block me. You can't break me. You can't shake me. 'Cause I'm standing on the promises of God. Standing on, I'm standing on the promises of God. You can, 'cause I'm standing. You can't block me, 'cause I'm standing. You can't break me, 'cause I'm standing. You can't shake me, 'cause I'm standing. For my hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness. I dare not trust the sweetest frame, but wholly lean on Jesus' name. Come on, if you know that your hope is built, you can just tell God, for my hope, then Jesus' blood. 'Cause I dare not wholly lean, yes, my hope, then Jesus' blood. 'Cause I dare not wholly lean. No, you can't stop me. You can't block me. You can't break me. You can't shake me. You can't stop me. You can't block me. You can't break me. You can't shake me. 'Cause I'm standing on. I'm standing on. I'm standing on. Yes, I'm standing on. I'm standing on. I'm standing on the promises of God.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back, and thanks for joining us here on the Lapa Hour with Josie Roy and Lenny Church. But I'm Linwood Jackson, all right? And we're coming at you live. You know, we just heard a beautiful song by evangelist Nicole Wright, singing from her latest CD, Standing on the Promise. And the good Lord everybody knows we are standing on a promise. And now we want to bring in our next guest, who is doing some great work out there in the community as well. And y'all know we are very, very, very passionate about trying to change some of these laws and righting some of these wrongs that's going on out there. And one of the laws out there that's dramatically affecting the African American community, particularly our youth, is some of the cannabis laws going on out there. And here joining us today is Zoe Patchell, who is the co-chair of the Cannabis Bureau. Zoe, welcome to the show. How you doing today?
I'm well. Thank you so much for having me on today.
Well, you know, it's always a pleasure. I know you've been on a couple times before with Lenny Church and we wanted to get you in to kind of like give us an update on what's going on with Cannabis Bureau and what it is that you're doing at the Cannabis Bureau.
Yes. Well, first, the Cannabis Bureau advocates for education, research, and scientific-based policy for cannabis and cannabinoids on a local, state, and federal level. basically, there's a lot of stuff going on. This is one of the single most progressive issues going on, and it's very important as well. Here in Delaware, on a medical side of the issue, we finally got one dispensary open, one compassion center open here in Wilmington. Patients that have been suffering from debilitating illnesses have been suffering for, they've been suffering with these debilitating illnesses and been trying to obtain laboratory tested safe access to medical cannabis for over 4 years now, since the 2011 Medical Marijuana Act went into effect. And finally, this past June, we finally got one compassion center open. So now we want to fully implement the 2011 law, which states one compassion center in each county, because right now, as it is, with only one compassion center open, patients, like I said, that are just suffering from debilitating illnesses are having to travel from Sussex and Kent County, to obtain laboratory tested safe access to their medical cannabis. So, we're asking the governor and the newly formed oversight committee to fully implement the 2011 law. And then on the recreational side, the General Assembly passed the decriminalization bill back in June, and that goes into effect December 18th. And it's a good step forward. However, we're trying to tax and regulate cannabis like alcohol. We want to create significant revenue and jobs through economic development of two already existing industries, one being the recreational consumption of cannabis for adults 21 and older, as well as the industrial hemp uses of the cannabis plant.
Wow, that's a lot of work you guys been doing, and I know you in particular, and I know you had a lot of help. There's attorneys out there involved with this. I know you work closely with
Thomas Donovan, yes.
But I guess he's out of business now that the decriminalization bill came through.
Unfortunately, no. Because I also work in his office. There's been a number of calls since that bill. There's people still being arrested, and like I said, it doesn't go into effect till December 18th. While we commend the leadership and the senators and the representatives who took this brave first step, there are a number of issues with the bill that we believe taxing and regulating cannabis like alcohol will solve. There's a few things with the language of the law, and we're worried about a few different issues, people still being arrested, the racial disparities. Right here in Delaware, African Americans are 3 times more likely to be arrested for cannabis possession despite similar usage rates amongst races. And we fear that this decriminalization bill might still further that same racial disparities due to the language of the law, as well as the fact that only leaf cannabis is now decriminalized. So if it's any of the hash or the tinctures or the oils, which are commonly used, this is one of the most commonly used drugs out there, and basically you can still be arrested for that, as well as you can still be arrested for consuming publicly. And public consumption also includes 10 feet from an open window in your own home, according to this decriminalization bill. So we're worried about that with city dwellings mostly, as well as my own home in the suburbs doesn't have anywhere in the house that's 10 feet from a window. So we're concerned about that.
And that's why you have a lot of organizations involved in helping you, like the ACLU, the NAACP, speaking out big time on these people being the disproportionate number of African Americans, particularly people of color and low class economic realm. They're not making a lot of money, being locked up for petty crimes, baby stuff, and it tarnishes your record for like ever if you don't get it straightened out and get some of these bills changed, like what Zoe and her organization is working towards. So, how can give us a call to action? How can we help you move to the next step? What is the next step? I know you said you have one, for example, building, what do you call it, a hospital place where you can go out there and get
Compassion Center.
Compassion Center, but I understand with the law they allow 2 more. There's 3 of them supposed to be done. Is that right?
Yes, the 2011 law actually states 1 in each county by 2013.
1 in each county, and we
with
only have
assessing
1.
the need for more by 2014. So finally, this past June, 2015, we opened one finally, and the patients in those other 2 counties are having
So
to
we're
drive.
due 2 more.
Yes.
And in the interim, residents of the state of Delaware has to go way down wherever, depending on how far they are from this compassion center, just to get relief for their medical issues.
Yes, and we're talking about one of the safest, most versatile, medicinally applicable plants on the earth.
It's unreal. And so now with the legalization, how far do we have to go? Where are we at with that?
Yes, well, like I said, the decriminalization bill takes effect in December 18th. So our call to action, we're asking people to reach out to your representatives, reach out to your senators, and even the governor, and please tell them that Delaware can't afford this failed, costly, racially biased policy any longer. There's been a number of hearings across the state. In terms of the budget, we have a $100 million budget deficit, while it costs over $22.3 million just arresting people for possession. That's arresting people like myself, just for petty possession. And that's about 46% of all drug arrests here in Delaware. So we're asking, concerned citizens, you don't have to be a cannabis consumer to support this issue. We're asking concerned citizens to reach out to your elected officials. Please tell them that Delaware can't afford this any longer. And I just want to point out the fact that I mentioned that there's over 2,600 people arrested for cannabis possession a year. That's about 7 on average a day. While a state report, crime in Delaware, suggests that 46% of all crime went unsolved that same year, which was 2013, as well as 56% of homicides, 70% of serious property crimes, 68% of robberies, 76% of burglaries, 28% of sexual offenses. So there's some serious victim crimes that are happening while law enforcement is being diverted to an issue that has nothing to do with public safety.
And
Yeah.
all the money that we're wasting to convict criminals for these petty crimes could be spent better utilized in other areas, as you just mentioned before.
I just wanted to ask, you said there, I read somewhere, well, there will be a compassionate center in Newcastle, Kent, and Sussex. So the facility that is open now, where is that, in Newcastle County?
Yes, it's in Wilmington on Jermay Drive.
Okay, I think, our viewing audience need to know that, where, and another thing is, when the General Assembly goes back, will this be one of the issues that will be brought concerning this bill right away, or something that's not pushed back, be addressing this right away? Then the third thing is, I believe in when we have issues like this, and keeping it in the forefront of our community. So I'm welcoming you to come back on the Lapa Hour as much as you can, because it does affect African Americans, but it affects people, period. And we don't want to start saying it affects this group of people, but it affects people, period. And we want to make sure that, something happens, that we can discontinue the method that's going on now, the system that is causing people for minor, instances to be given a record, that is going to affect them, as Linwood said, the rest of her life. So you're welcome. I'm giving you an open seat to come back, because I believe in doing that, because this is something that's very important to our community, as I said, especially our young people. A lot of people don't even understand about the bill. Young people, they don't understand. They hear somebody talk about it. And sometimes we have to do more educating people than we have to. We can pass the bills, but if the person don't know what the bill actually means, and these young folk don't understand that. And then before you know it, they have a record, they can't get it expunged. They don't have the money. It's a felony, or, and it just over and over and over. And then they're in the system. They can't get out of the system. And it seems like the system then keeps them in the system.
Absolutely. That's a good point you raised, Josie, because once they get caught up in the legal system and this wrangle, it's hard to get out of that. And from what I understand, Zoe, you work in an attorney's office
Yes.
that deals with these type of cases. Attorney
Thomas Donovan, and right now he's currently representing anybody that's busted with misdemeanor marijuana possession for free. Obviously, after December 8th.
You said for free real fast. And you want to point that out. Now, that's
Yes.
for free?
Yes, for free. If you're busted with misdemeanor marijuana possession, he will handle that charge for free. If you have an associated charge or any other charge, he'll have to charge for that as well. But if just the misdemeanor marijuana possession, he'll handle for free.
Can you give a number or a contact number
yes,
for him?
you can reach him at tomdonovandefense.com, and his phone number is 302-566-5529.
And that's very important. There's also other resources out there to get your record expunged and pardoned for free as well. You might want to Google that and check that out, free expungements for these petty crimes, and that's where you get the help to get your life back on track, because we all know if you have a small minor infraction on your, it'll carry you through the rest of your life. Now you can't get a job, it affects you from going to school, you can't get training to learn anything, to get a job, to support your family, and that keeps you tied into the cycle of criminal behavior. Is society responsible for that? Are we as citizens responsible for that? Well, we had to take a degree of responsibility, especially if we just sitting back doing nothing about it. You listening to us, this panel here, telling you guys what to do. Pick up your phones, do like what we're saying, and make the call to your state representatives, particularly the governor. I would presume he has the power to pull the pin out, and he can scratch some of these laws and get it done real quick. But he ain't going to do it if we don't move and address this issue and have them and vote people in who's going to help us with our issues. If they're not supporting what it is that we're trying to do, help us out of this crunch, then they don't need to be in office. For real, for real.
I just think you brought up another very important point. When it comes to voting, I always seem to get caught in conversations with people about some issues like this, voting and other issues. And about me, I'm for real. I'm going to tell you what I mean. And that's
put it
how
out,
it is.
Josie, put it out.
And, you know, when it comes to voting and you say, you know, get the person that's going to represent us, I've always believed in that. I never have believed and pulled a straight Democratic ticket, a straight Republican ticket. I am one for always finding out the issues. And, you know, you can listen to the person, and you should know within, after listening to a person, if they really mean what they're saying. Again, what happens is we need to be more educated about the issues. We need to be educated about those who are running for office that want to represent us. Just because you know a person, that does not mean anything. You know, a lot of times, oh, I know him, I know her. Yeah, maybe so. But maybe they the worst persons that you can pull the lever for because you know them. That's not saying that they're going to really represent you or the community like they say. So I would say to this community, I want you to educate yourself. Find out who is running in your district that's going to represent you. Find out what the issues is. Ask them about your issues. We are the one that have the issues, but we need to know how they're going to address what our needs, as Lynn would say. A lot of times you're going to do this, they're going to do that, and a lot of times they're not going to do anything. Let's be honest, you know. So educate yourself. Vote for those persons that you know will represent you. As this young lady sits here and talks about this bill, you know, and trying to help people from, you know, being charged for minor crimes, a minor offense, you know, listen to what she's saying. Take that information. It's real. She's real, what she's saying. So don't go and listen to somebody else and say, oh, we're going to do this, and we're going to listen to this young lady and listen to all people like her that come on this TV program and sit and try to inform you about what's going on in our community.
That's right.
It is of utmost importance, isn't it, Linwood?
You know, Josie, a lot of people give the excuse like, well, I didn't know. You know what I mean? I didn't know. Well, we have people out there putting this information out. And I know Zoe, for example, that she sets up tables at almost every event out there in the city. If there's something going on, a festival, ice cream festival, the jazz festival, she got a table out there with her friends and supporters and other people working with this organization, putting this information out there. And so that brings the question that I have is, Zoe, when is the next event that you have coming up?
Yes.
I know you got something on the mind.
Yes, December 5th, we're actually doing the second annual Repeal Day rally. We're using the 82nd anniversary of alcohol prohibition repeal to highlight the hypocrisies and parallel some of the hypocrisies. Basically, you know, everybody understands why that law was repealed. You know, it was a failed policy that was creating crime and violence. And that's exactly what we're seeing with cannabis prohibition. Cannabis prohibition is as ineffective and as problematic as alcohol prohibition was. So that will be in Newark on Main Street. We're meeting at Library Ave and Main Street at 2 p.m. December 5th. And that's going to gear us up to our 5th lobby day, which will be January 28th. It's a Thursday, and that'll begin at 11 a.m. in the Majority Caucus Room down in Dover.
Now, what I'd like to say, just for a moment here, I can ask you a question. I know the last time we had you on, you weren't as involved in this situation at the level that you are at this point. But one of the things you did steal from me was I was going to ask you about the parallels between prohibition and the actual use of cannabis, and exactly how the violence that we have today, they were intertwined. But also I would like to make sure that the viewing audience understand that, keep this in mind, it takes and it cost us in the state of Delaware, the size that we are, $36,000, all right, per person to keep a person locked up. Now that's $36,000 for anybody that, if they didn't see Tom Donovan, no matter what it was, if it's a felony conviction, that's a different story. But if it's misdemeanor, you're still going to have to be going in front of a judge. You're still going to have to get a bail bondsman. That's another thing that we could have on another show. That in itself is going to create a quagmire as well. But the thing is that if we're going to spend that kind of money, think of how well that could be utilized if we don't put those individuals in there. You said the statistic, I think it was a statistical breakdown on a percentage of 46%. Now that's 46%, and look at that on a basis of 50%, which basically is 4%, that we have maybe violent offenders that are in there that have felonies, and you got 46% of them that are in there that are busted primarily for what we consider to be misdemeanor marijuana, because they can't make bail, or when you do get put in what we consider a holding cell, you may not see a judge for a few days. Then on top of that, your case may not come up for a few months. So now you find yourself in a position to where you're dealing with the population, and now anything can happen if you've had the misfortune of being in there, where anything can occur to where all of a sudden now you're doing some time and you may wind up getting a felony while you're in there, solely based on the fact that you were one of the unfortunate individuals to be pulled over the side. And keep this in mind, we're just not talking about the person that is driving the car. We're talking about all of you in the car. See, happened to me once before, and that wasn't the reason, but I realized that can happen. I just happened to be an innocent bystander in a car, and the car was pulled over. And unfortunately, what happened was you have to go through the process. And believe me, once you go through the process, that charge in itself, even if you don't go in front of the judge, you're still arrested. And it's on your record. And it's on your record for the rest of your life. I didn't see a judge. I was just pulled in by a Dover police officer, like I said, years ago. I ain't gonna say how long ago it was. I was in college when it happened. But it happened. And for the life of me, never did a thing. Didn't do anything. Just an innocent bystander. Doesn't matter. You still had a mugshot. It's in the state record. And when you had to fill out an application, they didn't ask you where you were convicted. They said, have you ever been arrested? And that's been changed on some degree on some of the applications. But I just say that for the fact that these young kids out here, you just don't understand how this thing occurred. First it was prohibition. Now it migrated. Like they said, if you ever looked at the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, they said that the criminals by the 60s, this thing would change totally different, and it has. It's now 2000s and 2015. And who knows what's going to happen by 2016. Hopefully they'll come together with their wits. And as you said, Josie, and as you infatuously said, Linwood, that look, it's not the person that you like
That's right.
that's going to do the best job. You have to look at the person. And sometimes the person that you don't like, and you being a union guy, Linwood, Josie, and myself, we know that it's not always the guy that's going to get with the golf clubs to go out to Las Vegas and play with the bosses.
That's right.
They're going to get some stuff passed, but it's not what you need. What you have to get is that guy in there or that girl in there, or I should say that guy and that lady. Get them in there, whether you like them or whether you don't. You may hate their guts, but the fact is they'll get things done.
That's right.
And that's what you want. You're not worried about, look, you want to see a beauty contest? Go to Atlantic City. You want to be liked? Join a fraternity. My point is that you got to get people in office that can carry your torch.
Right.
And we as public figures and citizens, we need to back those individuals that are willing to be able to put a niche into this crime market, because it's not just marijuana. We have the distribution network. You've got liquor stores dotted next to every church practically in the city. So it's not that we can't get this ball rolling. And I know for a fact that it's stored. You ain't gonna burn all of that stuff. You might burn it. But look, it's like the old days, Linwood, when they had the surplus food back in the day.
Yeah, man.
They
Come a
always
long
had
way.
it out in Kansas.
right.
The rats were bigger than the people.
I know
That's
that.
all I say. I mean, but sometimes you have to look at that situation and say, you're storing it and you're waiting for this to happen. All that you need to do, Ohio, unfortunately, they missed, but they had the infrastructure set up. And the people that were out there selling it, trust me, then they had greenhouses, some of them, if you saw it. I don't know if you had, but they had greenhouses already set to go. All they needed was the okay for the state to pass the bill, and you'd have had. I had a woman that had $100,000 a month business. She dumped it to be able to grow cannabis out there in the fields with a excuse me, a hothouse, and they were ready to go. They were what you call shovel ready. And they were ready to put it in a distributing network where just like a guy out there in the field picks corn and
Right,
as it goes. So
right. Yeah, that
what we're
was
saying is hopefully we can stay on track and you can come through with this.
Yeah, back in the day, we come a long way to now, and that's why we have to thank Zoe Patchell and her organization and other organizations out there, and Donovan Thomas, the name,
Thomas Donovan.
Thomas
Donovan, attorney, and all the other freedom fighters out there
That's
trying to help change these laws. So we want to thank you for coming on, and you and evangelist Nicole Wright. You sang a beautiful song.
Yes, you did.
Standing on the promise. And I just got one more question. We're getting ready to come to a close here for today's show. But who were some of your earlier inspirations? Who inspired you?
Oh, back in the day, I don't know too many young women that's not inspired by Whitney Houston. I love Whitney Houston, but I absolutely am inspired by Tamala Mann. I love Tamala Mann. She just seems like she's so down to earth. But what I did forget to mention was my single is actually, the gospel video is actually on YouTube. So anybody can go on YouTube and see the gospel video, Standing on the Promise.
All right, now I watched that YouTube video and you sang so well. Maybe you can take us into one more song. Being as though it's Josie Roy's birthday, why don't you lead us off with happy birthday?
Okay.
All right.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Join in with us, audience.
to you.
I know you out there in
Happy
TV land.
birthday, dear Josie.
Happy birthday
to you.
Thank you so much.
Now we're going to dig into some of this pie over here.
We're going to have some pie. And so we're about to close. And so we thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
on and being with us. Again, one more time, tell the audience how they can get your CD, what to go and look for.
Okay.
And we're going to welcome you back again throughout the year.
I appreciate
Welcome
that.
you to come back as you go forth with your CD.
Okay, that is innovativerecordings.com. That's innovativerecordings.com. And you can go underneath for artists and you will see my picture and under the name Nicole Wright. And you can download the music from there. I also have my biography on there. It tells you more about me and more about the management that I'm under. And you can also go to YouTube and that, you can see Nicole Wright, Standing on a Promise. And that's the title of my album.
Okay, Zoe, we have maybe about 3 minutes. give what you need to give out information?
Yes, we're the Cannabis Bureau. You can contact us on Facebook. We're CB Delaware or Cannabis Bureau Delaware. Our phone number is 302-236-6984. You can reach Thomas Donovan at tomdonovandefense.com or 302-566-5529. And we have a rally coming up on December 5th, Newark Main Street, 2 p.m. and Lobby Day, January 28th.
Thank you so much. And of course, Linwood, they're going to be on your radio
They're
show
gonna be on
after
my
this.
radio
So
show
if you
after
want
this,
to quickly mention that.
The Linwood Jackson radio show on WFAI 1510, 2 to 3 every Sunday. And of course, we're over here on Comcast Channel 28 every Friday, 4 to 5, the Urban Compass. And
Okay.
again,
Thank you so much again. 2 minutes left. Thank you, viewing audience. Please take all the information that you have received this morning. Take it, use it, be in contact, with everything that's going on. Lynn, and I think we have 1 minute left, and we're going to give you that and close us out.
And we will close out, and we'll say, remember, stay tuned on this dial, third Sunday of every month. We'll be looking forward to seeing you. Maybe this year we'll dress up with a little Santa Claus flair for you out there. But keep this in mind. May you and your family have a blessed day, and we'll see you in 3 to 4, well, actually it'll be 4 weeks. I got to remember that stuff because it's
Right.
always the third. I think this is the earliest one
And we
we
need
had.
to wish them a happy Thanksgiving.
And oh yeah, that's right. I forgot all about that. I know turkey prices are up,
Right.
but there's a whole bunch of hams in the store. I don't eat it, but have yourself a field day because turkey prices are up and they're talking about the shortest on them. But regardless of whatever you decide to have, just have a blessed day and make sure you spend it with family. On that, have a great day, and we'll see you again third Sunday, remember, of each month.